Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here's Alday.
What is going on with 900 days? Welcome back, Highlanders. Welcome to Season 2 of What is Going On with me, Aldous Samfly. This is your weekly, or almost weekly, YouTube series where we discuss the game Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Particularly today, we're going to talk about 900 days. Now, why is that important and why are we starting with that on this season? Well, we're going to open the season with a three-parter. Now, I don't like talking about this game in a negative way, and in many ways it's a thing you probably shouldn't do as a content creator. But there are some things we probably need to talk about, so we're going to start with this, and this is a good framing thing. So we're going to do 3 episodes over the next 24 hours, or 3 episodes 24 hours apart, and the first one is this. What is going on with 900 days? Well, 900 days ago, almost to the day, CG actually launched the last actual new content into the game. That is how long it's been since they added the ROTE TB. Now, I know you're all going to stop me and say, oh no, they've added raids since then, they've added single battles, they've added one more planet into the ROTE. I don't count those. You know, those content aren't for everyone, they're gated, they're locked. They use only certain characters, you can't use your whole roster. They aren't things that you can actually enjoy your roster on. So actually it's been 900 days since they added in any new actual content that you can use your whole roster at. Now I think that is, I'm going to say, too long. In any game that claims to be in a positive or claims to be in an active status, I think 900 days without a brand new event or brand new game mode or an adjustment to game mode, even if they'd adjusted GAC or adjusted TW or adjusted even TB, then maybe we'd have something else to talk about. But the fact is, it's been 900 days. I know you all, like I say, we said, yes, they've added in raids, but really, what are raids? Raids are just there to kind of stretch you so that you actually unlock the new content. They're there to be kind of gate locked behind relics and behind new characters to generate some sort of value for the new characters. Otherwise, you could just completely ignore the new characters and say, well, I've got my SLKR, I'm perfectly happy. So kind of raids aren't necessarily there. And then you've got the single one-off battles, the ones that are kind of designed for Master Obi-Wan and the Qui-Gon Jinn, Master Qui-Gon Jinn, or the recent Nightfall event. But let's face it, again, those are not content that you really need a guide for or a strategy for. You don't need anything for them. Those are just kind of there, and once you've got the relics to get into them, they're pretty much easy to complete. So they're not really a challenge. They're not something they've added into the game that's going to be replayable and fun over and over again. So how long ago is 900 days? Well, December the 16th, 2022 is when they actually added the ROTE function into the game. Since then, let me read a list of the characters they brought out since. TIE Defender, the Tuscans, Dr. Aphra, she was almost on the line. Seer Malicos, Cal Kestis, that team, Merrin, the Great Mothers, Captain Rex, Kanisa, Bo-Katan Mandalore, Scout, Leia, GL Ahsoka, the Gungans, the Killer and Beck, the Leviathan, the Balin P1, the Sad Batch, and the Lord Vader clones. Those aren't an exhaustive list. That is just the main teams that they've kind of brought out in the time since TB's been active. And what's that actually done to the game? Well, they didn't change TB platoons, and therefore actually over the last 900 days, the TB platoons have actually become almost obsolete. We have so many new teams now that can clear waves, and they're not in any way involved in the platoons because they were added after the platoons. Therefore, actually, the platoons, well, yeah, they've kind of become certainly trivial at the R5, R6, and R7 kind of levels, And yeah, one or two people need to take some really odd characters you don't use anywhere to R8. And that's just kind of what TB is. Or you could refuse. So it's kind of rendered the TB platoons kind of, shall I say, irrelevant. The main mission is probably the Reva mission. Most guilds have probably worked towards Reva or are getting them in the next one or two. Certainly the unlocks are kind of coming in now. So no matter what level your guild's at, Reva has now actually also become something which is not necessarily sort of driving you to enjoy the game. GAC. Oof. Well, the advent of all these new teams and no change to the board, no change to matchmaker or anything like that, well, GAC has just become about efficiency. You know, who attacks last and who gets the most banners, because it's not really about not full clear anymore. It's kind of lost the tactics or the strategies about putting specific teams. Yes, and it really is all about datacrons these days. Do you have that one new datacron that does this incredible thing, or do you not? I think we'll talk all what this all means for the game in a minute. But GAC certainly has become about efficiency, certainly has lost its sparkle, and certainly has lost that kind of fun, oh wow, I wonder who'll win this sort of thing. The matchmaking also still seems to be a little bit broken, but certainly is a lot better than the TW matchmaking, which, let's face it, we're going to talk about that now. So, TW matchmaking, oof, or shall I sell it? No, TW apathy. So, apathy towards TW and people are kind of getting enough R9 mats or getting enough R9 characters or kind of not having enough to do with their characters, it's kind of meant that people don't really want to join TW as often. So, especially in the higher guilds, you end up with what used to be sandbagging, but nowadays is really just people who don't want to play that game mode. They want to save as much time from their SWGOH experience as possible, and TW is the one they skip. So you end up with these horrendous mismatches where one guild is 100 million or 50, 90 million more than a different guild, simply because of the number of people that have joined. That's leading to unfair matchups, and again, maybe not a fun experience in game. And I think that's probably what we're talking about here, is that in all of these key game modes, be it TB, be it TW, or be it the ROTE to TB, there's been a drop in fun, a drop in interest, a drop in tactics or strategy, and it has become far more about just brute forcing your way through with the relics, or brute forcing your way in efficiency to be the last one that attacks. And it simply means that you are deriving less enthusiasm for the game. The wins that you get are Pyrrhic. They don't feel as deserved because you generally won against somebody that had a much lower GP than you or much less relics. You don't necessarily enjoy unlocking the new characters. You look at them now. I mean, the new characters that are coming out now, just people like Disguise, Clone Trooper, Scorch. I mean, nobody's downloading the game today saying, oh wow, thank God they've added the Disguise Clone Trooper. Wow, Scorch is now in the game. Give me that now, you know. I think if those are the characters you're going for first, then you probably need to look at what you're doing with your life. Or you probably need to rewatch the source material, I'd say, because there's significantly better characters in the Star Wars universe than these. So I think generally this video, where we're going to kick off this part 3, this 3-part series where we're going to talk about where the game is today, it talks about the lack of new content and the lack of them changing anything to make it better, the lack of them respraying anything, the lack of them adjusting anything, the lack of them adding anything. And 900 days for me is, well, that is a long time. We will be kind of heading on towards 1,000 in 3 months' time. God, I wonder if there'll be something new, but you got to remember there's not even anything in Road Ahead. The Road Ahead, the kind of vision forward, these have also all become nothing more than just well, we're going to add this character now, or this toon, or we're going to head towards this raid. They don't actually talk about anything exciting, anything on the horizon, other than just another grind for another marquee character. So why are we talking about this, and why is it important? Well, CG doesn't really care, let's be honest. CG's new model for this game, and the ideal player that CG wants in this game, is somebody who downloads the game, plays the tutorial, spends $20 to $50 on a few packs, and then never plays the game again. That is their ideal. Well done, thank you very much. You are our ideal player of this game. And I think during this entire series, we're going to talk actually very much about the differences between what CG are valuing now in players versus when they used to actually care about the end game experience, or the in-game experience, shall I say. We're going to talk about that a lot. Anyway, so we're going to kick this off. This was part 1, where we analyse what the game is today and the lack of new content. Part 2 will be tomorrow, where we'll talk about community management. It'll be a spicy one. Until next time, enjoy your swiggle. We will return to a normal, more positive video after we do this little series of 3, and then we'll talk soon. Okay, everyone, may the force be with you. Good to be back. Talk to you soon.